Fourth rule. After der, das, die, always e. But not in plural, not in dative, not in genitive. And that's easy to remember, and I'll give you an overview later, because you work through these 5 simple rules from top to bottom, and once you have reached already this rule, you have covered already plural, dative, and genitive in rule number 3, right? So after der, das, die, always e, what does that mean? It's a bit more complicated. Look at this. Welches neue Auto meinst du? And where is the der, das, die here? Can you see it? If you don't, let me help you a little bit. Welches ends in S, which basically could be replaced by das. Das neue Auto. Wouldn't make sense here, yeah? Das neue Auto meinst du? Possible, but it's different. So when I say der, das, die, I don't literally mean the words der, das, die. It could be, but I mean basically the endings er, s, and e. Take a look at a few more examples. Ich liebe deine neue Frisur. You don't see a D here, but deine ends in E, so it basically works the same. And it is once E, always E. It's another rule that applies here. Das neue Team, so I have literally a das here, so always E means neue has to end in E. Dieser neue Tisch, so I don't have a der, but I have a dieser. Both end in ER, and therefore neu has to end in E. Ich bin der junge YouTuber. Here we have der literally here. So after der, das, die, always E. Hope this is clear. So one last rule. These 4 rules are very easy to remember and easy to apply. We will test this in a minute. But they only work if you have a marked adjective here. Yeah, so in case the adjective is marked, that's why I said marked cases. One more minute. And here's the shortened or the more correct, precise rule. After er, s, always a. Now, last rule, which applies to all cases, marked or unmarked. And that rule is at the ending, no ending. At the end, no ending. Never. Der YouTuber ist jung. If it was a woman, what would you then, how would jung change? Yeah, der YouTuber is a man. So how would it be if you had die YouTuberin? Just think for a second. The same. I told you no ending, never. It doesn't matter whether the YouTuber is masculine, feminine, diverse, or a dog. Nobody cares. Could even be a car. Yeah, some YouTubers are cars, I'm pretty sure. So if the adjective is at the end, it never gets an ending. And that is where I contradict myself from the beginning, where I said adjectives always have an ending. I still stand to that. But if you put it at the end, no ending. And no matter what. By the way, number 3 is not necessarily an adjective. Number 3 is, now you tell me in the comments what number 3 is. It's not an adjective. It looks like one, but it's not. Yeah? But for you, it doesn't even matter, because I've seen this done wrongly many times, where people simply add an ending here, whether it is an adjective or whatever this is. Yeah? I've heard and seen plenty of times, ich spreche sehr schnelle. Never ever. Yeah? And the same is with 4. So 3 and 4, what are these? Schnell and langsam, if they are not adjectives. Good. So 5 simple rules. These were once en, always en, once e, always e, plural, dative, genitive, and in en. After er, as e, always e, and at the end, no ending, never. I don't think you need to really force yourself to remember this. Let's do a little test. Now let's test your knowledge. I'm hiding the word test, but it's a test of these 5 simple rules, and remember they are for marked cases only. So you see here eine Jungfrau. So what ending does jung get? That's the first thing. And which rule do you apply? Always say out loud the rule or write it down. So you have, and pause before you listen to my answer. Yeah, always really think along. So eine, once I, always I. Yeah, so you can see that once I, always I. You have to take my word for it because I'm hiding it. Next. And you see here eine Junge. Second example. Der Hund ist brav. Which rule do you apply and what's the ending? Pause, think, and then continue. At the end, adjectives don't get an ending. Therefore, nothing. Meinen jungen Mann sehe ich oft. What rule do you apply? What is the ending? Once en, always en. Therefore, meinen jungen Mann. Check this one. I give you the case always on the left, it might help. Now, what's the rule you apply and what's the ending? Dative, always en, was rule number 3. And that means diesem Jungen. Number 5. Which rule? You see eines Kindes. You might remember, even though you've never heard of this case before. This is the genitive. And the genitive, you can also see it there, always ends in en. The adjectives there, yeah? Careful. All these endings we're talking about are adjective endings. We're never talking about article endings. It's a very, very important difference here. Yeah? And you can see that hopefully clearly. More examples. Eines jungen Kindes Energie. Dieses neue Auto. Which rule do you apply? After der, das, die, always I. Another rule, mit, gives away which case? Einem, you might have already learned this, is dative, and therefore dative always en. You can see that already a bit higher. One more, or two more. Einem jungen Piloten. Mit welcher Kutsche fahren wir? You see again mit. So mit gives away its dative, and therefore always en. One last rule. So the 5 simple rules were for marked cases only, and for the situation that an adjective is at the end of a sentence. Now, of course, we will also look at the unmarked cases where there is an article without an ending or no article at all. So if you see this example here, ich sehe alte Frauen, you see that there is no article in front of alt. Now, if that's the case, alt has to somehow do the job of that article. Yeah? You could theoretically replace alt with die. And you can see that the ending is the same. So if this is an unmarked case, no article in front of it, no ending in front of it, then you have to add the case ending to the adjective or the article ending to the adjective, like you can see here. Another example, jungen Kindern traue ich nicht. There is no article here. This is actually a marked case. Yeah, a little oversight of mine, but also a good example. Nevertheless, in dative, you're pretty much safe with an N most of the time. So den Kindern traue ich nicht would be the same, just to make the point. But this is a marked case because of the Kindern. Yeah, fooled me. Das ist kein junges Kind mehr. So careful, junges. Yeah, even though there is an es ending here, it's not at the end of kind, so therefore it's not indicating genitive. Yeah, you see kein, but kein doesn't have an ending, and therefore junges has to take over the article ending. Yeah, die Energie junger Katzen hätte ich gern. There is no article in front of junger. There is an article die, but that is already covered by Energie. Every article has only one partner. It's pretty monogamous here in German. So die Energie, the die doesn't matter. So there is no article for Katzen, therefore this is unmarked, and as this is genitive, so it takes the ending that the article should have taken if it was there. One last example, no article here, and it's a dative, so it could be dem gehauen, schaut man nicht ins Maul, but the dem is not here, so geschenkt has to take the ending. This requires a little bit more practice and awareness, but this is something you learn with my courses step by step, very gently. But the logic is what I want you to understand, and once you get the logic, you have a way to deal with the adjective endings. You have a chance to get it. Yeah? And once you get it, you have a chance to practice this properly and to use it properly. Quick summary. It's important that you differentiate between marked and unmarked adjectives. Marked means there is an article in front of the adjective that has an ending. Everything else is unmarked. And if it's marked, beautiful, you have 5 simple rules. If it's unmarked, you put the article ending at the end of the adjective, as we've just seen. The problem with the unmarked ones is you need to know the gender of the noun, yeah? And for that, good news, I have a free course for you, which is the Smarter German Articles course. And that course you don't need if you work with the free trial of any of my courses, because this is the core technique that I teach in all first lessons of my language courses, so that whether you take the articles course or you just go for the free trial of the first lesson, this is always there, because it's such a sweet technique that will help you to deal with generous German articles in no time, and it's quite funny. And you need to know the case, and for the cases seem like a big mystery for many. They are not. They are very logical, very beautiful. And I have a masterclass on that, which you find also in my courses, not in the first lesson, but in the first 10 possibly, depending on the level. And it might still be on YouTube, but I'm not sure. If it's not there, don't ask me to put it there. Then you just have to work with my courses. So this is the summary. Hope you liked it. Take your time, and it's worth going through this one more time, that you really, really get it. It's beautiful. It's very logical. Yeah. So let it sink in. It's a lot of information. Try again. And if there are any questions, just write them in the comments. Yeah. Or if you're a student of mine, reach out in the community, and I'm happy to clarify things. Now, one last thing for those who don't know my courses yet, there's an even better approach to dealing with these adjective endings and all the stuff that's related to it. And that's what I call the preaching technique. The preaching technique is basically a kind of verbal pattern drill, but done nicely, which includes learning the gender with my beautiful technique. Yeah, so it's all integrated. You don't have to learn an extra technique and do extra work. It's all in one flow. And then you practice a little dialogue. Basically, it's a monologue, because you will do it on your own, but you can imagine you're 2 people. And it looks like this. Hey, siehst du einen Hund? Siehst du einen bunten Hund? Are you seeing a colorful dog? And person B then answers, which is also you, ich sehe keinen bunten Hund. I'm not seeing a colorful dog. Hey, surprised. Warum siehst du keinen bunten Hund? Weil ich keinen bunten Hund sehe. None of your business style. Yeah? So you see, this is not the most intelligent of dialogues, yet it is a dialogue. It is a speaking situation in which you practice the intuitive use of articles, article endings, and adjectives with the according ending. You practice negation, you practice irregular verbs, you practice dependent clauses. All this is already in such a little dialogue. And of course, we don't start like this, we start step by step, but you get there, and you can practice grammar like this neatly, and it allows you to speak proper German without thinking of any rules, of any tables, of any lists. It comes naturally. You say einen Hund, einen bunten Hund, without thinking. Because the problem with any rule, no matter how sweet they are, is that you can never apply a rule when you speak fluently. Look at me, I'm speaking fluent English, right? So I haven't applied a single rule consciously. I've learned to speak this way, and I do the same in German. I'm not applying any rules when I use adjectives in German. So the preaching technique is the best approach to really internalize grammar and to intuitively use it. Don't miss out on this. it's of course part of every free trial lesson that I have. Yeah, and if you work with my courses beyond that, it's part of every single lesson because it's such a valuable, beautiful, powerful approach. Give it a shot. If you want more Smarter German, go to smartergerman.com. You can look for your level. If you don't know your level, it's A1, and there you just start a free trial. And the free trial is free and unlimited time-wise. It's the first lesson in a shorter version, so you can work through it in an hour maybe. Should be enough, because I've shortened it. Maybe an hour and a half, doesn't matter, there's no rush. Don't rush through things. Take your time to digest things. It really is important that you get these things to an extent, and anything you can't get, that you practice it intelligently, like with the preaching. Thank you for your time. I hope you took something from it, and if you have any questions, let me know. And share your results of the tests of this masterclass in the comments, please. I'm always curious to see how well I have explained things and how well you have understood things. And if there's anything I can improve, let me know. Have a wonderful time, stay healthy, and above all, enjoy your German learning. Take care.